Do you remember that best friend you had when you were a kid? That one friend you met maybe when you were like 5 or 6 years old, or maybe it's multiple friends. But just think, how did you become friends with them? Was it because you just wanted to be seen with them, because you wanted their attention? Or was it because there was a genuine friendship energy that was in that? There was a genuine connection. But what happens to this energy when you get older, when you go into high school, for example? Because when you become a teenager and go to high school, it is a very different environment. Like, for example, in my school, all like the popular kids, like all the ones that were at the top of the social hierarchy, they were the ones doing like the most degenerate shit. They were the ones partying every weekend, drinking alcohol, skipping class, doing all the bad stuff. And that is not someone I wanted to be. I know in high school it may seem like attention is everything. Once you're out, once you're done, none of that shit matters anymore. I think the one thing that changes when you transition from being a child to going into high school and becoming a teenager is that you trade this genuine interest for friendship for social status. When I was in high school, all I cared about was that social status. Just like most people there, the one thing that just is really the overarching factor of high school is just that social status. Like, no one wants to admit it, no one talks about it, but it's there. You know it's there. And if you're in high school or if you're a teenager right now, it's very easy just to want to be part of this. When I was in high school, I really wanted to have that social status. I was not necessarily always a popular kid, not in primary school, not in high school, but I wanted that really badly. And you know, there's always that group, those groups that are seen as high on that social hierarchy. So I think like most people my age then, I wanted to be part of that group. I wanted to be seen with them. Like, you know, they were around my age, but they were people that I knew I didn't genuinely fit in with. I didn't share the same personality as them. I didn't do the same stuff as them, like partying, drinking, smoking, but because when you're in high school, that's just like the cool thing to do. I thought I need to be seen with these people if I want to be seen as cool. Unfortunately, I got what I wanted. I ended up becoming part of their group. This whole time I thought that is what would make me happy. That is what would raise my self-esteem and make me feel cool. Because the whole reason I wanted to be part of that group is my self-esteem was so low because I thought I'm not a popular kid, and I thought the only way I could get it high again, the only way I could raise it and feel confident about myself is if I was seen with one of these groups. And so then I ended up getting what I wanted. I got to hang out with them. I was seen with them. I was seen hanging out with them. And at first, only for like the first couple of weeks, my confidence was high because I finally got what I wanted. I was happy. But then afterwards, it just dropped down again, even worse, even lower than it was before I even joined up with them. I was with the groups that I'd always wanted to be with, but on the inside, I knew they weren't my people. On the inside, I knew I wasn't doing the right thing, and it just felt terrible every day. Sometimes I guess we'd have fun. Ultimately, I did not fit in with them at all. It just made me feel so bad on the inside all the time. Every day I was going to school, basically, I was just putting on this mask. I was just pretending to be someone that I wasn't. And that feeling was way worse. Like, even though now I was seen as high on that social hierarchy, I was seen as potentially one of those popular kids that I've always wanted to be. Because I knew this wasn't who I truly was, that just made me feel so much worse on the inside. I didn't care that I was now getting that attention. I didn't care that I was now seen with that group. That feeling of the shame on the inside was so bad, was so much worse. This is basically what high school was for me for like 3 years, from like year 9 to year 11, becoming part of all these different groups that I thought I wanted to be with, that I thought if I could be with them, if I could be seen with them, I would be happy. I knew I didn't want to be there, but I just couldn't escape either. Because if I left, I'll just be seen as that weird kid who, like, you know, doesn't hang out with anyone. But then if I stayed with them, I would just constantly not feel good about myself. I didn't know what to do. Then it wasn't until the start of year 12 I saw myself going through that same cycle again that I've been going through for the last 3 years. I was losing who I truly was on the inside by being with them, by always just pretending to be someone else, by just trying to fit in with people I couldn't fit in with. And so I decided for the last year of high school, I'm not gonna let this define me anymore. I made a decision that I thought I would never make, that I thought I'd never have the strength to make, but I left and I just started hanging out on my own. I remember I would just go into the study room, I'd sit there on my own and I would just study. I'd do my work, lunch and recess. I would sit in the study room alone. The reason I never wanted to do this is because I thought I'd just be seen as a loser. You know, I'd be seen as that weird kid, that loser with no friends who just studies alone. I was like, you know what, I don't care anymore. I hate the fact that I'm constantly just pretending to be someone else, that I'm just constantly hanging out with people I genuinely don't want to hang out with. Maybe it's better for me to just be seen as that loser, that weird kid that hangs out alone, than to force myself to be one of those people. So I just thought, I'm gonna hang out alone. I felt alone. I felt like that loser kid that just hung out by himself. I felt that way for about 2 weeks. Like, I still had friends, obviously, I'd talk to, but I just wouldn't hang out with anyone. And from doing that, after 2 weeks, the most amazing thing was I felt a sense of confidence in myself that I literally had not ever felt in high school my whole time. That whole need for social status, that whole need for external attention from people, you know, all that external validation, that whole need of external validation completely was wiped from my brain. Now that I was hanging out by myself, doing my own thing, doing what I actually wanted, being who I actually wanted to be on the inside, none of that outside shit mattered anymore. I didn't need any external validation. I didn't need any attention. I didn't need to be seen with anyone. These factors that had been just affecting my high school experience for basically my entire time there, all of it gone. For the first time ever, I did what I truly wanted to do. I became who I truly wanted to be on the inside. From doing that and from knowing that I did that, that gave me confidence and self-esteem that I never got from when I was part of these groups, when I was seen as that popular kid. I got a level of confidence from just being who I am that I never got before. And then the greatest thing it was that from doing this, I ended up actually finding a group of friends that I could share, that I actually felt that true like friendship connection with. That sense of connection that you feel when you make your first friend when you're like 5 years old. I felt that same connection when I decided to hang out on my own, decided to leave all that social hierarchy thing behind and just become who I was. I ended up finding another group of friends who like I could genuinely hang out with, who I genuinely felt like I could be myself with. And that was just the most amazing thing. It is what I wanted throughout all of high school. And I finally got it in the end, just from being myself. When you made friends when you were a kid, you didn't care about any of that social status and shit. You were just being yourself. You make friends with people that you can be yourself with. If you continue being yourself when you're older, and I know it's hard as hell with all the social pressures, if through all that you can continue being yourself, you will not only have like unshakable confidence, but you will find other people who you can genuinely connect with. You will build the most beneficial relationships, the most beneficial friendships you could ever have in your life. Just because you feel like you need to fit in somewhere doesn't mean it's the right place.